Hey y'all, season 2, episode 24. Fancies, let's talk about it. Tonight is trust issues topic by one of my loyal followers. Hey, how you doing? So tonight's topic for Fancies, let's talk about it. Season 2, episode 24 is going to be trust issues. Trust issues. A lot of people don't know what that means. You hear it. They make songs about it. They share information about it in movies and the like, but a lot of people don't really understand how trust issues really do affect the things that go on in relationships. And y'all will have to excuse me in advance because I have allergies and a cold, and so I am struggling with that a little bit. So you'll hear me sniffling a little bit. But I am here to talk to you guys about trust issues. I did put a poll up on Facebook because I am also on Facebook Live, so you'll see me kind of going back and forth. But I did put a poll up, and the poll question is, and I'm going to ask it here on Instagram, I'll say 1 or 2 for yes or no. But the poll here on Facebook Live is going to be, have trust issues affected one of your great relationships or any of your great relationships? Hey, welcome everybody coming on live on both Facebook and Instagram. You'll see me, I'm moving between both just because I have people who do not do Facebook at all and people who prefer Instagram for the speed or whatever. Okay, so we'll get right into trust issues. And basically what I can say is that, a lot of people have trust issues and they don't realize it because they bring that into the relationship. They don't really realize that they're doing it because they bring baggage into the relationship is what I'm going to say. And thank you for watching on both Insta and Facebook. Just a second, guys. All right. Give me a little bit. There we go. A little bit better. Okay. So a lot of people don't realize that they bring, because the way that you start with trust issues is because you bring baggage into the relationship. It can be baggage, it can be all kinds of baggage. It can be emotional baggage from a previous relationship, different things. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you guys. Hey. So when you bring, one of the things that I can say is when you bring baggage into a relationship, when you first recognize that you have trust issues is because of baggage. So you brought baggage into the relationship. So I want to start by, of course, I always do my research and whatnot because, I like to be objective and I don't really like to give my opinion, until like we do a wrap up. I'll give my opinion or whatever. But most of the time I will speak from, hey, welcome if you guys are coming on both Instagram and also on Facebook Live. A lot of times I will give only, because I really only like to talk about stuff that I know about when I give my opinion. The audience always picks the topic. Sometimes I get a topic right away. Sometimes it takes about a week or so right before we get on. But I just want to say that, first I would like to start out with, the definition of the two, because there's some misunderstanding and sometimes it gets crossed up with, there's a confusion between actually what is a trust issue and what is baggage. So I went in and did, my due diligence, and I got the definitions for both trust issues and for baggage. And so it might surprise you to hear the definitions. Although you might think that they're similar, they actually have some similarities, but they actually have different definitions. So I will go ahead and give you guys, and I'm going to read verbatim the definition. I did make notes of it, and I will read it verbatim. So a trust issue, the definition of a trust issue, straight out the gate, is when a person has trouble trusting others due to betrayal or other personal reasons, or are lacking in trust due to an action or things that they have been on the receiving end and have received in the past. So that's what a definition of a trust issue is. Again, a person has trouble trusting others due to betrayal or other personal reasons, or because of lack of trust due to an action or things that have happened to them on the receiving end in the past. Okay, so something someone has done to them. Welcome, guys, for watching. You'll see me sniffling and rubbing my nose a little bit. I have really bad allergies and a cold right now, so forgive me in advance. And then baggage, guys. The definition, definition of baggage is going to be an issue regarding a person's past that can affect their current situation. or their attitude or their overall disposition, right? And so they're saying that, that could be bad habits, situations in past relationships. They're bringing in ill feelings. They're blaming the world for something that happened to them at the hand of someone else. Okay, so those are the definitions. Again, I'll give you baggage. Again, if you're just coming on, baggage is an issue regarding a person's past that can affect their current relationship, situation, and general disposition, whether that be bad habits or things that they're bringing in from their past relationships. So basically, baggage is all the things that people bring into a new relationship from a past relationship, basically. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, you can have baggage due to issues that you experienced as a child and you're bringing in as a grown-up. And those are trust issues or abandonment issues. There's a whole slew of things that can be going on that cause you to have these specific issues that cause this baggage. Okay, so now that we have a clear definition of both trust issues and baggage, you kind of have a difference between what they are. So I have a poll on here on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live. I want to see if you can give me a 1 or a 2. On Facebook Live, the poll is asking you, have you ever had a great relationship affected by trust issues? And the options are yes or no. If you would elect those for me. On here on Instagram, if you would give me a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. If you've never had trust issues affect a great relationship, then that would be a 2 for no and a 1 obviously for yes. Okay, so we will go ahead and go into trust issues and baggage. Does anybody have any questions about trust issues or baggage, or do you have a short, small little testimony or how it affected you or someone in your life, whether that baggage was from childhood or caused trust issues in your relationship? If you've been guilty of it and you're willing to admit that you have been guilty of it, then say, yeah, I've been guilty of that. There's always strength in numbers. People can heal because they can a lot of times there's, like I said, there's strength in numbers. So if you saw someone else go through something, and you saw them come out strong, what I'm saying? Like I say again, I will not talk about things as far as giving an opinion on something specifically if I have not experienced it myself. So yes, I have and didn't know it. Thank you so much, Mr. James, and there I see you, boss, there. And I see you guys. Hey, Miss Latanya Marie, thank you for being loyal and returning. I'm looking forward to all of your information and opinions. Hey, guys. Hey, on Instagram as well. So listen, guys, I want to know if you have been affected. So go and take the poll on Facebook or on Instagram if you have been affected. If a great relationship has been affected by trust issues, 1 for yes and 2 for no. And on Facebook, of course, yes or no. So listen, share this video as well. Start a watch party if you want to. That's awesome. I appreciate it too. But it's important because trust issues can basically affect everything that we do. And like I was saying, I don't speak on things that I don't know. So I actually didn't even recognize the behavior until it happened to me. I had to be in a full-blown, committed, healthy relationship, to even recognize that I had baggage. Even me, I given myself plenty of time, to sort through and, allow the other person to own what happened, whether that was situations in my childhood or whether situations, in a long-term relationship or a commitment. I had given all of it plenty of time, so I thought. And I have some tips for you guys if you're going through that. If you've gone through it, or if it's something that somebody else that that you love or care for is going through, your sister, your brother, your mother, a best friend, family members, cousins, whatever, anybody who's come to you for advice or whatever, and, you just don't have an answer for them, I have some answers for you. And, these are things that you can do to try to help and remedy that situation per se. So I just want to move forward with it. So basically, in order to learn to trust again, you have to put out the baggage. So it's okay that you're in a new relationship. I wouldn't say break your relationship up. I'm going to give you the tips. I'm going to give you 4 signs that you have trust issues. or that you're around someone and you'll be able to recognize that you have trust issues. 4 signs for those. And then I will give you 4 remedies or 4 ways per se to try to start to overcome, or the process to overcome, those trust issues. And Miss Latanya Marie said that's happened to me. Absolutely. It took me a whole relationship, a whole healthy relationship, to realize that, I had baggage and I didn't even know. I'm really, like, forgive and forget. Don't blame the next man for what the last man did. You know what I mean? Make people own their behavior or their trespasses. I'm that person. I've always been that person. So I want to say that, we have there, like, okay, let's start with the 4 signs, just 4 signs. There's, of course, tons of signs. I mean, psychologically speaking, and research, says way more than 4 signs. I've seen 10, I've seen 20, whatever. But I'm just going to give you 4. Okay. And so 4 signs, the first sign of the 4, that you have trust issues, or that you're dealing with someone who has trust issues. One of those is going to be that you automatically predict how someone will betray you without any evidence of them actually betraying you. So in your mind, you already set up the fact that they're going to betray you. You lay it out in your mind. You completely lay out the way they're going to betray you, what they're going to do. Now, this might come in the form of a trigger. Something might trigger you. Something they might say, something they might do. They may defer from or detour from, their normal routine, and that might trigger you. You have baggage, or you might be the person who doesn't have the baggage, and the person you're dealing with is one who has the baggage, the trust issues, because of what's happened in their past, their baggage, and you might recognize that they might start tripping, right? Okay. They're trying to figure it out, what's going on, right? Okay. All right. So one of them, again, is the first one. You predict how people will betray you without any evidence of an actual betrayal. So in your mind, you've already laid out how they're going to do it, what they've done. You have this elaborate idea in your mind. You have this whole scene playing out in your mind of how they betrayed you or how they're going to betray you, right? Without any real evidence of betrayal. So there we go. That one. All right. Anybody have anything on that? All right. And Mr. James said, I had a great relationship and baggage caused a lot of trust issues. Yes. The first step is always admitting it. You know what I mean? We're not perfect. We're human beings. It's important that we admit it, right? And I'm going to give you a piece of that. I'm going to go a little bit further into that in a few minutes with the 4 ways to overcome the baggage, or the trust issues due to baggage, right? Okay. And Mr. Malvo, welcome. Okay. So another way to recognize that you have trust issues, or that someone you're dealing with has trust issues, is that you or they trust people that you or they have no business trusting. So you're easy to trust someone because something looks good, because you want to do that. There's a reason for that. Psychologically, in your mind, when you're making choices, and I had this conversation with my sister, not about this, but she was talking to me about when we make bad choices. Say, for instance, like, what is perceived to be bad choices for our health. In our mind, we think about only the good reasons why we're doing it versus the bad things or the outcome that can come of it, right? Come out of it. So, for instance, what she brought to me was about smoking or eating. Right? If you're eating, if you're snacking a lot or you're eating a lot, right? We talk a lot about health and fitness, my sister and I. So she said that, one of the examples that she had in this conference that she was in was smoking. And I know a lot of people are struggling with the kicking smoking. So she said that we always relate a positive to it, so if I'm smoking, it's keeping my nervousness down. It's keeping me from, indulging in other things if I'm smoking. It's keeping me distracted from things that I don't want to think about or know about or do, right? These are the things, right? So that's a positive statement about smoking. Snacking. A positive statement about snacking is, well, I'm snacking. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing drugs. I'm just snacking. I'm not having a whole meal, this kind of grazing behavior, right? So we always try to go in with a positive over a negative, and that's why we or that are harmful to us, because we don't know. So In that same regard, I can tie that in because you absolutely go in and you trust someone you have no business of trusting. So because they look good, they talk a good game, they move a certain way, they portray their life a certain way on social media or in the public eye, even prior to social media, because I mean, some of our experiences date way past that, right? And it's way to the back. We have issues going back very far with this, trust issues and baggage, right? So you're going to say that you begin to trust people based on your perception of what you see and what is in front of you, because that is the positive that you give that negative behavior. You pull the positive before you pull the negative, right? Okay, so you trust people you have no business trusting in to begin with, right? Okay, or the person you're with trusts people that they have no business trusting, okay? But you could be the bad guy and they could be trusting in you and you mean absolutely no good, right? Okay, it happens. All right. The next sign of the four, the third of the fourth, right? Welcome, Maya. The third of the fourth is that your relationships are shallow, even when you aren't a shallow person. In other words, you don't allow the relationship to go any more deeply than the surface, right? You don't allow it to go further than the surface. It becomes a very shallow arrangement. It becomes what I called before in season 1, situationships. Yep. Go back and watch situationships for season 1. I think it was probably maybe episode 28 or 30 of season 1. Situationships. And go look at that. You get yourself involved in that. And where there's no true definition of what you guys are. You're just doing something, who knows? And then you get your feelings hurt and get everything wrapped up and get mad because, they're doing what they want and you're doing what you want, whatever, right? Topic tonight is trust issues. Season 2, episode 24, trust issues. And so your relationships are shallow, even if you aren't. That's the third sign that you or the person you're dealing with has trust issues. Your relationships are shallow, even if you aren't or they aren't. They have created a shallow issue, a shallow relationship. That's an issue. So then the fourth, as far as the signs that you or the person you're dealing with has trust issues, is going to be this person has a hard time, or you have a hard time making emotional commitments. Commitment is a huge word. Commitment scares a lot of people off, but there's all kinds of commitments. We make a commitment every day to be our best self, right? If that's what we're committed to. We make a commitment every day to get up and go out and earn our money, if that's what we do, or whatever we do to earn our money. We make a commitment for that every day. We make a commitment to live every day by treating our bodies good. So these are commitments. Commitment is a huge word. It covers a blanket definition, actually, but commitment. But an emotional commitment is what I'm trying to get you to see here. Emotional commitments. These people or yourself that have trust issues have a hard time making emotional commitments. So anyone seen any of those 4 signs that you've been dealing with someone or that you yourself have had trust issues? Again, predicting how people will betray you without any evidence of an actual betrayal. You lay out in your whole mind. You've laid it all the way out, the whole betrayal, even if they haven't done a thing. You've laid out, you're going to do this. It's just going to happen to me. It's going to be over before you know it. And that's that. The second one is you trust people you have absolutely no business trusting, right, at all. No good for you or you're no good for them. They trust you or you trust them. These are trust issues. That your relationships are shallow, even when you're not a shallow person. You allow no depth to it. There's no growth there. All it is it is what it is, right? Okay. Because you're afraid or they're afraid. I'm going to give you more information. And finally, that you or they have a hard time making emotional commitments. Again, emotional commitment. Not that we're going to go to dinner and they show up. I'm talking about, or they pick you up, or, or we're going to go here and we get there. No, I'm talking about actual commitment, emotional commitment. In other words, I'm emotionally invested in you, or they're emotionally invested in you, right? You're invested in them or they're invested in you emotionally, right? Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of interaction from you guys. Make sure you do the poll on Facebook Live, please, for me, yes or no. Go click on the poll. It's an interactive poll, and it says, have your great relationships been affected by trust issues, yes or no? Here on Instagram, if you would give me a 1 if the answer is yes, and a 2 if it's not. Or you can DM me the information, because I don't ever want to put anybody's business out there. You know me, right? only want you to share what you're comfortable sharing. If you get whatever you get out of it, that's awesome. Hey, Georgie, what's up? All right, so Miss Latonya Reese says, I agree. Yep. 4 signs of trust issues. I hope, I mean, some of you are going to hear that and you're going to be like, ding, ding, ding. Oh, wow. That's me, or that's, on Tom, Betty, Diane, that's whoever I'm dealing with. Oh, wow, that's her or that's him, all the way to a T. Or guess what? That's me. I'm guilty of that, right? That's what you're saying? Yeah. You don't have to tell me, just know it, right? This is to bring it to your attention, but more so it's about getting you all in a position to where you're comfortable talking about it, whether it's with me or the audience, or whether it's with whoever it needs to be discussed with, right? There we go. Okay. So I want to give you, in that case, 4 ways to overcome that. But before I do, I want to take any comments. So let's see, give you guys a little break right here. And I'm going to sip this wine right here. It's a cab. While I give y'all an opportunity to give me comments about trust issues. If they've affected you, or if it's frustrating, if it's a pet peeve for you, what do you think about baggage versus trust issues? Because I did give you in the beginning the definition of trust issues and the definition of baggage. So we absolutely are dealing with 2 separate things, even though they are interrelated, right? The bestie's on. Hey, Kiki, what's up? Oh, and I see you there on Instagram, Lala, and I see you on Facebook Live. See y'all there. So have trust issues affected you? Take my interactive poll or DM me, or 1 for yes on Insta and 2 for no on Insta. Trust issues affected a great relationship? I know that some people can feel me. You might be the most innocent person. This is how you know that the person you're dealing with has trust issues, because you might be the most innocent person doing absolutely nothing, be at no fault of your own. And something comes out of nowhere and just sideswipes you, just like blindsides you, like, what was that about? I'm my pedicure or my manicure is taking a little bit longer today. And so because it's taking a little bit longer now, you think that I was with, the next guy, And that's not okay. That's not my issue. That's their issue. That's not your issue. That's their issue. So people and their baggage and their trust issues can absolutely have a negative impact on the great relationship that you could have, potentially, or the great relationship that you're in. And I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going to give you some ways to overcome it. Just like I gave you 4 signs that you are dealing with someone, or that you may be one that has trust issues. And then 4 ways, of course, offset the negative with a positive, because we want solutions, right? We're not just here to complain or gripe, or just vent, which you can do that too. It's fine. But hopefully, whichever you're here for, you're gaining that information. So give me some information. Anybody fed up with the trust issues? Anybody fed up with, going through it? You say to yourself, man, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. That's a good girl, or that's a good guy. And I shouldn't have done that. Man, I really put my foot in my mouth on that one. Now I feel really small. The truth is, guys, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to mess up. We're human. We're going to do that. The real truth about it is in the matter. It's matters of the heart. If you're really invested in someone, you really care about someone, if you see the potential for the future, a solid foundation. Meaning to say that this person is a whole person, they have their life together, right? You're not trying to figure it out. There's no failure to launch here, and there's no issues here, and you say, oh man, I really put my foot in my mouth on this one, they forgive me. The truth is that they absolutely will forgive you, because you actually mean something to them, right? Okay. So they are going to forgive you, because they care for you, and, they see something in you just like you see something in them. The shoe is on the other foot, per se, right? So talk to me about your situations, whatever you want to give. You want to give what happened to you, please do so. If you want to come on my live with me, come on. I'll put you on with me to talk about these things, but I ask that you keep it about the topic. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I ask. I mean, my audience is here for that. We're here for it. We're here for each other. Okay? So anybody else have any comments, anything you want to say about it before I move on to those 4 ways that I've got to lay out here for you to overcome trust issues? Because a lot of times we get there and we're like, you know what, I gotta be better. You know, this is my goal, is to be better. I want to be better. How am I better? Help me, please. You know what I mean? In your mind, you feel so alone because you don't know how to talk about this to anyone. You know, you feel guilty for whatever. You know what I mean? So you're gonna go on and you want to be like, I want a resolution. So I'm here to give you, the studies say, are some ways to overcome. And these are not all of them, of course, because there's tons of them. But these are just 4 that I selected during my research today and yesterday and the day before. But I have them here. So, guys, we'll go ahead and go into that. And I'm going to take your comments, too. So go ahead and make your comments. You know what I mean? Take the interactive poll. Come on with me if you want to talk. You know, come on. I'll bring you on as long as we're on the topic, right? Okay. All right. Make sure you're sharing. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the 4 ways to overcome these trust issues. The healing part, right? This is what we want. The healing part. Okay. So to heal, to be better, to overcome, the first and foremost, I'm going to say this is not a bad word. It's not a dirty word. It has a huge stigma in the community. We know, because, just move on, get over it, be better. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. A lot of people in their mind, they think, worse things have happened. You ain't dead. You know what I'm saying? You're still here. Oh, well, lesson learned. But the truth is that if you do not heal, absolutely will be no good for anything or anyone. There's no way. So one way that you can, and agree or not agree, it's fine. It's not for everyone, but it's not a nasty word. It's therapy. Therapy. And what you don't realize is we're getting therapy right now because we're talking to one another. It doesn't mean that you have to go to an actual therapist. You can do self-help. You can do therapy. Yes, you can. Privately, or you can do group therapy, or you can come here and get therapy here with Fancy Let's Talk About It. Or you can get therapy through reading, like I tell you. YouTube, mecca of information. YouTube has so much information, so much to offer, for, self-help, all kinds of books for free that you can read. Go to the public library, whatever. You can read everything, audio books, Lord knows. There's so many ways for you to get the therapy that you need to be better. Again, I want to, is not a bad word. It can be private. You can actually go to a therapist privately. You can actually go to group therapy. You can actually hang out with the girls, hang out with your guys, have a conversation. It's therapeutic. They say retail therapy. Okay. While you're shopping, and ringing up that bill, you're also having a conversation. Girl, do you know? And what happened to you? Again, strength in numbers. When you see someone else has gone through something that you're going through, or, in this case, trust issues, how do I forgive? How do I let go of the past, right? Therapy. Okay. Again, privately, in groups, with your girls, with your guys, therapy is not therapy. All kinds of therapy, whether it's paid or not. But I say definitely go through the therapeutic process, okay? All right. The second one, y'all know I'm all about homeopathic and I'm all about the natural things, seriously, when it comes to medications and all kinds of things. Meditation. Meditation is absolutely essential. I recommend that you meditate every day. Meditate. Talk about things, listen, meditate, take time out, center yourself again, become one again with Mother Nature, ground yourself, sweep off the negative energy, do what you've got to do, right? So again, YouTube itself is a mecca. Spotify, Pandora, whatever, everything that you can think of these days can go online and get a good meditation. Again, I really enjoy Michael Sealey. You can read his books. You can listen to his audiobooks. You can go watch him on YouTube. You can go everywhere and find Michael Sealey. He does awesome meditation. He does short meditations. The one that I enjoy most is probably about the one that's about 47, 48 minutes, and you can find therapy, you can find videos and audio on pretty much anything that you've got going on, whether it's for increase, whether it's for positive attitude, relieving stress, taking off negativity, and in this case, regaining yourself after you have trust issues and letting go of baggage, right? Okay. All right. Again, meditation is number 2 on my list of the 4. The third one, guys, is going to be to forgive the person who trespassed against you. If that trespass happened when you were 7 years old, you've got to go back to that place at 7 years old and forgive at your 7-year-old self. You have to. It's essential. You have to forgive, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that the person might be dead and gone that trespassed against you, and that's fine. And I want you to understand that if it happened to you yesterday and the trespass that happened to you at 2 o'clock today, it doesn't matter. Let me explain to you that 95% of the time you are not going to get the closure that you need or deserve from the person that created the problem. The person that trespassed against you are not going to get that closure. So you have got to learn how to forgive them with or without their apology. You're going to get your own closure. You're going to learn to forgive them with or without their apology. This is something that I had to do as a grown-up for trespasses against me in childhood. This is something I had to do as a grown-up for trespasses against me in a former marriage. This is stuff that I had to do. I only talk about my own experiences. So I had to learn how to forgive without their apology. It's absolutely possible to be able to forgive. You are not crazy. Geniuses speak to themselves. Remember that. You're having an intelligent conversation with yourself, because that's what you have to do sometimes. Whether you do this process in written form, where you write a letter or a note with all the things that you want to say to this person and put it to their attention. They may never get it. It doesn't matter. Write it down. Let it go. Forgive them, because you are only responsible for yourself. You can only be responsible for the outcome of your life, and you are the one who is responsible ultimately for what happens to you in your life. So you and your decisions going forward are what count. So you will have to forgive them with or without their apology. Forgive them for what they did. They cheated on you. Forgive them. They lied to you. They had someone in your house. Forgive them. They were living a double life. Forgive them. They were living a triple life. Forgive them. Let it go. Like you said, L-I-G it. Let it go. Let it go. You've got to let it go. You've got to forgive them. You got to go back to those people who told you weren't going to be shit and let it go. You got to let it go. You can't hold on to it. It's only going to impede your progress. It's going to affect every single relationship you have going forward. You have got to let it go. Let the negativity go. It's hard to do. It's easier said than done. It's a process every single day. None of us are perfect, without flaw. It takes time. But you've got to go to those places where you were hurt the most and let it go. You have to. You cannot be a better person. You cannot be positive, and you cannot have a good outlook. You have got to let them go. Okay? Someone set you up. Someone robbed you. Someone, stole from you. Someone took everything from you, that you lost everything because of them. Your credit got ruined. Whatever might have happened. You were looking out for them. They weren't looking out for you. They said they were going to be one thing. They turned out to be something else. You talked about your values. You believed they were in line with each other, and they were not. So you have to just let that go. It's done. Move on. Let it go. You're only going to negatively impact your relationships going forward if you do not let go. Again, forgive them with or without their apology. Let it go. Forgive them with or without their apology. Anybody have any opinion on that one before I move on to the fourth way to overcome trust issues? I know it's a lot. We'll try to stay real organized with it now, because it's very beneficial to people when they come back and watch it. Not a lot of distraction, and they can actually see those points, take notes or whatever, and come back and watch it. Share with whomever is going through it. Again, it's not always about you. Sometimes it's about the people that you love who are asking you for advice that you can't give them. But if this lights the fire per se, or sparks the conversation, I was watching this live, Fancy, let's talk about it, and she was talking about this, and this was talking about that, and the person had an opinion. If it starts the conversation, then I have absolutely completed the mission that we set out to do, right? Maximo, welcome again. Keisha, welcome. Hector and Roberto, welcome. Okay? And so then in this situation, when you're dealing with that, or again, the fourth way to overcome trust issues, absolutely, is to be honest with yourself. Own your own shit. Own it. I said it. Own it. If you know that you're the person who has the problem, you need to accept that you have the problem. Step back, own it, and say, you know what? I'm wrong. I got to do what it takes to be better. I got to do what it takes to correct this issue. The problems that I'm going through, I've got to do this. I'm not going to be better. You know what? That doesn't mean that you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're that person or they're that person, give them the time that they need to be better. If it's them. If it's you, that has the issue, the trust issue, you need to be honest with yourself and own the fact that you're the one who has the trust issue. Step back. Say, you know what? I care for you, but you know what? I'm no good for you, and I'm no good for us, and I'm no good for this commitment or this relationship if I cannot be better and own my own crap. I got to own my own shit, like I said before, right? I said it. Okay. So step back, reassess it, take time to heal. Again, forgive, like I said, forgive them with or without their apology. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get, again, 95% of the time in life, you are not going to get the closure you feel that you deserve from anyone. You're going to have to give it to yourself. You're going to have to move forward, and you're going to have to do that with or without their apology. You're going to have to be better, okay? So that is your fourth one. Again, like I was saying, if you're dealing with someone who has the trust issues, do whatever it takes to make them feel secure. Okay? If you guys love each other, and you know this issue with trust issues and baggage is just rearing its ugly head, but otherwise you're in a great healthy relationship, you know, nobody's tearing each other down, you're, you know, emotionally sound, especially if you're in a marriage, you know, stick by their side. You know, my best piece of advice to you is to give them whatever they need to feel secure. That doesn't mean that you need to belittle yourself or make yourself less than. What I'm saying is you don't need to, you know, grovel on the floor, you know, and do this and that. But my best piece of advice is, do you really care about them? And it's a great relationship, other than the fact that, you know, we're human, we all have shit, and we all have problems, we all have issues from the past or whatever that we haven't dealt with. Again, bringing emotional baggage into new relationships or whatever. And if you're with someone and it's a good commitment, otherwise, and you're just dealing with this, it's reared its ugly head, something has happened, a person's feeling insecure for whatever reason, or you're feeling insecure, I would say either end that you're on, if you're your giver or the receiver, I want you to say and to make a commitment that you're going to do whatever it takes to make them feel secure. So if they're insecure, and this is something that I can tell you that I have actually heard, you know, in a conference myself. Okay, so if your woman feels insecure, when she calls, pick up the phone every time. You might be busy, you know, just pick up and say, hey, I'm doing this. Let me call you right back. Pick up the phone if she feels insecure about that for any reason. Something has made her feel insecure, something she's seen, and Lord knows social media is a huge culprit. Social media, I've said, can be the devil. It can cause so many problems, you know, in a relationship, because the perception is horrible a lot of times, right? It causes a lot of problem, you know. People, you know, especially in the situation, you know, even my, you know, always put things out, you know what I mean, unless it's happened to me, you know. But the truth is, people call my Facebook Messenger, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know these people. Me, I've said it before on my lives, you know, or my show. I would never call somebody I don't know. I'm just not that brave. You know what I'm saying? Why would you call somebody you don't know? But some people do it. They do it, you know. So, you know, hey, you know what? Here you go. You know, if I'm with you, somebody's calling me, I don't know, here, go take the phone. I mean, put the video on. I have nothing to hide. You know what I mean? You know? So that's, you know, whatever it takes to make that person feel secure. Call back. Okay, what was it that you needed? You were calling. What did you need? If this happens to be someone I know, what's going on? You know, put the video on. You know, take the phone call. Whatever. You know, put it on speaker. I'm here with my lady. I'm here with my husband. I'm here with my wife. I'm here with my man. What was it that you needed? You know what I mean? If you're not doing anything and you really value the relationship, do whatever it takes to make the person feel secure. Do whatever it takes to make them feel secure. That is my number one piece of advice, whatever that is. If that means that you need to let them know that you arrived at work on time, or that everything is okay, or that you made a pit stop, or you're going to be 30 minutes behind, or you're at the spa, or, you know, you're manicure pedicure and it's running behind, or you had a 45-minute wait, let them just do whatever it takes to give them the security and help them build that trust. It takes time. A person has to heal, and none of us are better than anyone else, whether we're the giver or the receiver on this end of what's going on. So welcome, Joanna. So beautiful. Okay, guys. So does anybody have any? Thank you, Mr. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Big O, thank you. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much. You know, I always appreciate that. You're always so positive. You've always been so forthcoming and everything. Big O, thank you. Always such a good supporter. Wapo, welcome. So I just want to say that, you know, I have a poll here on Facebook Live. If you would go on for me and say yes or no, that you have or have not had a great relationship affected by trust issues. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll just take some of your comments. Hey, big bro, Larry. Hey, it's been a while. Tonight we're talking about trust issues. Anybody, you know, have any testimony, a little story you want to tell? any piece of advice that you can give anyone else, if you want to come on with me, I'll bring you on. As long as you stick to the topic, you know how we do it, you know. If not, you know, I mean, what I can do is, you know, while you guys are thinking about it, maybe you want to contribute or not, or you want to come on. While you guys are thinking about it, I'm just going to go back over very briefly what we covered tonight. Trust issues versus baggage, how baggage affects trust issues, how you get from point A to point B, four signs to show you that either you or the person you're dealing with has trust issues. 4 ways to overcome those trust issues and to be better. Okay. And then we'll just do a little wrap up. Hey, hi there, big pretty Ashley. Hey, Ashley, welcome. Welcome. That's my big girl. Okay, good. Okay, so again, I want to go back over the definitions with you guys. And go ahead and give me your comments and your testimony. Hey, Ms. Darlene Banks, the beautiful lady. How are you doing? One of my supporters too. Followers. They're on Instagram. I'm on both guys. So take my poll for me on Facebook Live and give me a 1 or a 2. DM me on Instagram. I'm going to go back and look at that later. If you have had a great relationship affected by trust issues, baggage creates trust issues. We don't know that we're bringing it in. So let's give you very briefly, again, I'm going to give you a wrap up and I'm going to give you the definition of trust issues again, the definition of baggage, 4 ways to recognize that either it's you or someone you're dealing with that has trust issues, and 4 ways to overcome those trust issues, very briefly, because you can go back and watch the live later. Give me comments after as well, okay? Leave the comments, it's fine. They don't always have to be while I'm live. I always go back and read everything, take everything into account. Oh, thank you. Of course. And you know how I feel. Thank you, Big O. That's awesome. Okay, so again, the definition of a trust issue is when a person has trouble trusting others, and this is verbatim. I'm reading my notes because I did take it from the dictionary. When a trust issue is when a person has trouble trusting others due to a betrayal or other reasons, or are lacking in trust due to being on the receiving end of someone's ill doing, ill behavior, bad things that have happened to them. Trust issue, right? Versus baggage. Baggage. The definition of baggage is an issue regarding a person's past that can affect their current relationships, their disposition, their overall attitude, and their life, really, in life situations. It's affecting you now. You got baggage because of the past, things that have happened to you, right? Okay. All right. So basically, baggage is all the things people bring into a new relationship or go into a relationship with. That's baggage. Okay. All right. And in order to learn to trust again, you have to put out the old baggage into the new relationship. Even if you do bring it to the new relationship, you have to set it outdoors. Step back, reassess. Doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater, like I said, right? Okay. So very briefly, the 4 signs that you or the person you're dealing with has trust issues. You predict how people will betray you with or without any evidence of an actual betrayal. So in your mind, you have a whole scene set of how they're going to do it, what they did, how it made you feel, how it's wrong. So that's the first way. Second way, trust people, or they trust people that they absolutely have no business trusting. People who are absolutely no good, mean no good, but they have trust issues. And so they trust you because something looks good or sounds good. Okay. All right. The third way is your relationships are very shallow, even if you are not a shallow person. So they come into a relationship being very shallow, even if they're not shallow. It's because they have trust issues, right? Okay. And the fourth way is they have a hard time, or you have a hard time making emotional commitments. Emotional commitments. Remember, emotional commitments. Not commitments to go to dinner, not commitments to go to a movie, keeping a date, not commitments to work out with each other, and no, commitments, emotional commitments. I can't commit emotionally. There's no depth. It's very shallow. And like I said, refer back to Fancy's Let's Talk About It Season 2, situationships. It might have been episode 17. I think it was 17, but I can't say for sure. And then again, 4 ways very briefly to overcome or to heal from trust issues. There are ways. Therapy, which is again not a bad word, even though it has a negative stigma. And, you know, there's all kind of ways to get therapy. Again, this is a way to get therapy, what we're doing right now. So that's a way to do it. Go to an actual person who is a real licensed therapist, right? Go to them. They're medical, right? Go to them. And or you could do it in group therapy, or you can do it through self-help. You can read books, audiobooks, go to the library, you know, or go to library, read audiobooks, do whatever you got to do. You can do all of that. Or you can, you know, actually listen to some things, some topics, you know, like I say, through, you know, Spotify, whatever. Go online to YouTube. Of course, it's a huge mecca. Welcome to Tupac Twin. Good to see you. All right. So the second way to help yourself overcome, or the person that you're dealing with overcome their trust issues, is meditation. This was my other second piece of, you know, advice. Meditation. So meditate. Again, it's very good to do it every day, no matter what. Center yourself, go back to that place. There's all kinds. I always recommend Michael Seeley. He's my favorite. Okay. The third way I said, again, is to forgive with or without their apology. Get your own closure. Again, because 95% of the time, you're not going to get the closure you deserve. You're not ever really going to get the apology. So you got to go down with it. That means you've got to write it down yourself, a letter, a love-hate letter, or whatever, and go back and let it go. Let it go. Remember? And again, if you are the person or you're that has the trust issues, or the person that you're dealing with has trust issues, be honest about it. Own it. Let them own their shit. Step back. Reassess. Take time to heal. You know. And again, like I said, if you're dealing with someone, or if you're the one who has trust issues, but you'll have an otherwise great relationship, you know, there's nothing else going on, you know, that y'all are really there for each other. You really mesh very well. You're a real good match. I said my best piece of advice is to absolutely do whatever it takes to make them feel secure, whatever that is. Remember, if that's checking in, answering the phone every time they call, whether it's man or woman, and making sure that if anything is awry with your normal, you know, routine, or if something's going on, or there's a change in plans, make sure they're comfortable with that. If someone's calling you, you know, and you know you're not doing anything wrong, put the phone on speaker. Answer the phone. Don't mute the phone. Don't lay the phone face down. Don't do all these things. You know, stay out of people's DMs. You know, if someone's in your DM, give them their phone if that's what they want. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not responsible for anything that anyone else is doing. You're only responsible for your own behavior. Someone's calling, pick the phone up, answer it. I'm here with my man. I'm here with my lady. I'm here with my husband. I'm here with my wife. What is it that you need? You know, have respect, you know. And then, you know, learn how to cut those people off, or even block them, which is something that I've had to do in the past. Just block people, because I've had people call me randomly on Facebook Live, you know, on the messenger, not live, but on the messenger, you know, and create havoc in my life. And it's like, dude, I don't even know these people, but, you know, whatever. Here, you talk to them, call them back, block them, whatever. I don't care. I would personally never call anybody that I don't know. That's what I had said. But some people feel okay with doing that. So that's pretty much where we're at tonight with trust issues and baggage. So I gave you guys a rundown again, wrap up, got some comments on here. Make sure you go back in and comment later. Make sure you share the video if you like it. Make sure you inbox me, DM me here or on Instagram for next week. We were successful in going live on both tonight, which is awesome. It's been a while since probably the last 3-4 episodes I haven't gone live on Instagram, because I can never get it completely right. But we're there. And so this one will be loaded to YouTube on tomorrow. And if you're interested in the YouTube, I will post that as well. Otherwise, send me your comments, share the video. Next week, consider starting a watch party for me. It's pretty cool. It gives me more exposure to more people, so we can help others and help each other. So until then, I hope you guys can, you know, take a look at this, run it back, replay it, apply it where it needs to be applied, take the tips, recognize, utilize the tools to recognize if it is you, or if it's the person you're dealing with. Really assess it. Let them own it if it's them. You own it if it's you. Put the baggage out, per se. Put the baggage out to start fresh. That doesn't mean throw the baby out with the bathwater if everything's good. So I think that we have covered a lot in a little bit of time. We're about 45 minutes in on the topic. So just make sure that you guys let me know what you think about it, and make sure you take you have, and it's there on Facebook Live also, and also you can on Instagram DM me or whatever, and let me know one or two if you don't feel comfortable putting it here. And if not, send me your topic suggestions for next week. It'll be next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard, right on Facebook Live and on Instagram. And Fancy's Let's Talk About It. Remember, there's always a little time to be fancy, and that's me. So I will see you guys next week. I hope it's helped you. Night night.